What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Leizel. Now for today's video, as you guys can already tell, yes, I'm going to be bringing you guys a tutorial on mask proof makeup. So I'm pretty much going to be going through the routine of steps that I do to ensure that my makeup lasts all day long without transferring onto my face mask. And when I tell you guys this doesn't transfer, it really doesn't transfer. Obviously, wearing makeup onto your mask isn't something that is completely necessary. However, if you are looking for a way to do so without having to worry about it transferring, then I do have some tips and tricks for you guys today. Before I get started, I want you guys to comment down below and let me know where in the world you are from and how things are going in terms of wearing masks. For me personally, I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and wearing masks is not something that is mandatory, purely for the fact that we have little to no cases in my state. However, I know in other states of Australia, mask wearing is mandatory. So yeah, comment down below, let me know what the situation is, where you're at. If you guys do enjoy this video or you find it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like it before you leave it. And if you're new to my channel, you know what to do. Join the crew by hitting the little red subscribe button down below and click the bell as well, so you don't miss any more videos that I post. And with that being said, let's get into it. Alright you guys, I am barefaced and ready to apply some makeup. I have, however, already gone in with my serums, moisturizers, and sunscreen, which I feel like is a very important step to start this whole thing off. Is that it's very important to keep your skin moisturized and also protected from the sun, regardless of whether you are masking up for the day. It is so important to have SPF protection. I've heard so many stories lately of people having to go and get skin checkups and then that resulting in them having to get things cut out of their face. So it is very important to continue on with the SPF protection. For those of you guys who are new to my channel, you may not be aware that I'm a naturally oily skin type. So to help combat that, I do like to go in with a very hydrating moisturizer. And if you guys are interested, this is the one that I use, the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel. And then in terms of SPF, this is my daily one, the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Face and Body Dry Touch Sunscreen. So this one's actually great because it's super lightweight and it gives you a matte look, which is what we want for this type of look. So once I'm done with all of that skin prepping, I leave those products to really settle into my skin, and then I will go in with primer. So this is the Rimmel Fix and Perfect Face Primer. So I just take like a little pea-sized amount and apply that to my face, obviously. I really like to focus this on the T-zone area, and then I will spread it out to the outer perimeters of my face from there. This is actually just the primer that I use on an everyday regular basis, and I feel like it gets the job done for me, creates a good barrier between my makeup and the skin, and it just feels really nice when I've applied it to my skin. So for foundation, I am not going to be going in with anything too heavy duty because I feel like that is just going to rub off onto the mask anyway. So I actually like to go in with a face powder. This one is the Bare Minerals Original Face Powder. For reference, my shade is number 8 Light. And I love this stuff, you guys. I actually use this on an everyday regular basis for like my everyday makeup look, and it's been something that I've loved for years. So if you're looking for something that's going to give you a little bit of coverage without being too heavy, without being too cakey, but it's going to really even out your skin tone and give you a nice polished look, then this is a product that I feel like is really good at that, because you can of course build it up to be super full coverage, but you can keep it light as well. So as you can see, I'm just going in with this fluffy powder brush from Real Techniques, and I'm going to just kind of pat and stipple that onto the face and then work in circular motions to blend it into the skin. I definitely feel like when you are wearing a face mask, it's probably safer to go with more powdery products as opposed to creams or liquids. There's ways to make your skin look glowy and luminous without being like dewy. So I feel like it's a much safer route to just keep it to matte products and then kind of work on making your skin look radiant with those products. So that's why I will be using a majority of matte products for this tutorial today. So as you can see, this is really evening out my skin tone, giving me a little bit of color while not being too heavy on the skin. And that's why I love this powder, because it's so easy to work with. Like, you really just, as you can see, brush it around. Like, I'm not being too gentle with it. This is literally how I apply it on an everyday basis. It's just like swirl it around my face, and it just really melts into the skin and gives me like a little bit of coverage without being too crazy. So that's pretty much what I like to do when it comes to foundation, I guess you could call it, or just evening out the skin tone and giving me a little bit of coverage. Now when it comes to certain blemishes, especially this one right here, it's like a little bit of scarring left behind it from that time of the month pimple. But what I like to use when it comes to those is this. This is the Nars Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I actually recently spoke about this in my top favorite concealers video. I'll leave the link somewhere if you haven't already seen it. But this concealer is amazing when it comes to covering up blemishes and looking really natural at the same time. And not only that, it is great when it comes to staying in place all day. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this onto my concealer buffer brush and then go in and just ever so lightly apply it to any areas where I feel like I need extra coverage. As you can see, I'm applying it to those areas and then kind of letting it sit for a bit, because I am going to go ahead and blend those into the skin as well. I feel like letting the product kind of sit for like a couple of seconds before you blend it in really helps to let it adhere to the area of skin that you're applying it to, and also help it have a little more full coverage to it. But yeah, I just like to go in and apply this mainly to the areas where I feel like I need a little bit more coverage. As I said, like around my nose I do get redness naturally. So with this makeup look, you'll notice that I am not applying too many products. I mean, with foundation alone, I just went in with a powder. I feel like it's really important to keep things to a minimum and use as little product as possible, because if you're going in with a lot of products, especially if they are heavier in consistency and you're just layering them, then of course naturally that is going to be a little more difficult to keep on the skin, especially if you are wearing a face mask. So as you guys can see, that further evened out my skin tone and makes it look like I have a full coverage going on, even though, as I said, I've only gone in with concealer to certain areas of my face that need the coverage that I'm looking for. So next up, of course, I am going to go ahead and conceal my darkness in my under eye area. So for that, I'm going to be using the MAC Prolongwear Concealer. This is another ride or die product for me. I love this stuff. Super long wearing, has super staying power. Like, this stuff does not budge, it does not crease, and it is really great if you have an oily skin type like myself. I love this stuff. However, it is a little bit tedious to apply, but the product itself does a really great job for doing what I want it to do. So for reference, my shade is NC20, which is of course a little bit lighter in color than my actual skin tone, and that's because I not only want to conceal my under eye area, but I want to brighten and illuminate it. So as you guys can see, I've taken a little bit to my finger and then I apply it to the other, and then I just like to go in and apply it to the areas that I really want to focus on concealing and highlighting. So this is pretty much what I do on an everyday basis anyway. And again, I feel like this really amps it up, makes it look like I'm wearing heavy full coverage without having to go the extra step and apply a whole another layer of heavy full coverage to my entire face. So of course, I'm going to be going in with my trusty Airbrush Concealer brush. And I just like to start in the areas where I've applied the least amount of product, because I don't need as much coverage in those areas. It's really just about adding a little bit of light and definition and depth to those areas. So I'll go in and blend this area first and then go in down the bridge of my nose. I feel like if I were to go in and blend at the under eye area first, then whatever product goes onto my brush as well is then of course going to be added to these areas of my face where I feel like I don't need as much product, if that makes sense. So I like to blend out the areas that don't have as much product, and then I'll go into the under eye area last. So as you can see, I'm just applying this in a sort of stippling patting motion. I feel like that is going to give me the most amount of coverage without pulling any of the product away. And then the same thing goes for my under eye area. I like to start here and then really bring it up under there as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to stipple and blend that into my skin, and I feel like this makes such a big difference with brightening up my face and illuminating it, which I feel like even though you are going to be wearing a mask, this portion of your face is going to be seen, like your eye area. So I feel like still applying concealer and making yourself look awake does really help to enhance the eyes, because obviously with a mask on, the eyes and the brows are like the focal point. Alrighty, so now that that concealer is on, this next step is very, very important when it comes to making this last all day. And of course, I'm talking about face powder. Now this is one of my favorites, the Australis Ready Set Go finishing powder. Of course, this is an Australian product and I don't believe it is available overseas. But my recommendation is to get any type of translucent powder that is similar to this, specifically if it is really soft to touch and you feel like it's like really nice and velvety. So yes, that is my recommendation. Translucent powder is going to be your best friend when it comes to making your makeup really stay in place and last all day. So I'm just going to be taking that to my brush, and I do like to pick up a lot of product. I know it looks crazy, but trust me when I say that really going in with the powder is going to help your makeup last all day long. So of course I like to start with the under eye area. I'll go ahead and apply the powder there. As you can see, a little bit of excess, but that's okay because I'm really going to work and blend it into the skin. So same thing, patting and stippling that into the skin. And of course, the first thing I'm focusing on is the area of the face where the mask is going to be touching while you are wearing it, which is like the tops of the cheekbones here, also the nose. And then of course I'm going to still take that powder, but like less product, and apply that to all the other areas of the face that I applied that same concealer. And I also like to take whatever is left on the brush and just pat it over where I applied that Nars concealer, just to kind of set that in place. But yeah, as you can see, it's really all about like patting and pressing it into the skin. And I know it looks crazy, but trust me when I say it all comes together once you go in and apply like your bronzer, blush, everything. It all comes together in the end. If I ever feel I need to at this point, I'll just go back in with my powder brush that I applied the first powder with and kind of just blend at the edges so it doesn't look like there's this like stark white streak of a line where the powders meet, if that makes sense. So I just kind of like to go through and just blend all around the face. This is really going to help everything look nice and like cohesive and melt into the skin nicely. Alright, so now that I'm done with my base, we're going to add some more color into my face. Obviously with all of that powder that I've just applied, it looks very flat, and even though we are going to be keeping this a predominantly matte makeup look, I'm still going to go ahead and add some depth and definition to my face. So for that, I'm going to be using the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. I have been loving this product lately because it is completely matte and it's not too warm but not too cool. It's like the perfect tone for my skin. So I'm just going to take some of that on a large angled contour brush and just apply that to all the areas that I naturally like to add a little bit of like bronze and contour to. So I mainly like to focus this product on my face, like on my cheeks, and then also around my hairline. And then I do also use this product to contour my face and also as like an eyeshadow as well. This is like really an all-in-one product for me. So again, just applying this product around my hairline, and then that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy when it comes to that. I'm also going to go ahead and use that same product to contour my nose and also as an eyeshadow. So for that, I just like to use this fluffy blending eyeshadow brush. I just take a little bit to the brush and then tap off the excess, and then I start at the top here and just bring it down the sides of my nose. Now this step isn't necessary, but I feel like even though your mask is going to be like here, you still do see that top portion of like the bridge of your nose. This is still a step that I like to do regardless, like whether I'm wearing a mask or not. I still like to do this. I know this is looking crazy intense at first, but this is like my little nose contouring trick that I'm about to show you guys. So crazy. So what I like to do is go in with the same brush that I used to apply my setting powder to my face, And I'll just run this over that and kind of like stipple, pat and blend at it to help tone it down a little bit, but it still keeps the product there, and obviously you can still see it. This is what I like to do. I like to add product and then go over it to kind of blend it in. And then of course, as I said, I'm going to use the same thing to use as an eyeshadow. Now, I like to do this personally for myself because I feel like it really adds some depth and definition to the eyes, which obviously the eyes and brows are a focal point in this look because of the fact that the rest of the face is covered up. So I really like to add a little something to the crease just to, as I said, give the eyes a little more depth and definition. And I feel like using your bronzer for that really helps to blend everything together, make the whole look go together cohesively. And it's like a look without trying too hard, because this is honestly so quick and easy to do. Like just swish some bronzer through your crease and you're good to go. I do also like to go into my lash line as well and just quickly run some bronzer along there too. You guys can already see the difference between how one eye looks with it and one eye without it. I just feel like it really finishes off the look. Now in terms of lashes, you guys, obviously I do have lash extensions and it really is up to personal preference. Now if I didn't have lash extensions, I would probably go in with a really light wispy lash like the Ardell Wispies or Demi Wispies, or even just a light coating of mascara, just adding something to really define the eyes and really give your lashes a little bit of a pop. But again, it is down to your personal preference whether you like to wear false lashes or whether you like to go in with mascara. But for me personally, I feel like adding lashes are really going to, again, enhance the eyes and just make them stand out a little bit more. I do also like to go in with a white liner to my waterline, and this is really going to help once again define the eyes and make you look more awake and refreshed. I do love to use white liner on the daily. I feel like it just makes me look more awake, more put together. Even though I already have big eyes, this just makes them that much bigger. And then of course I am going to go in with a little bit of mascara to my bottom lashes. Obviously I don't apply mascara to my tops because I do have lash extensions, and it is not good to apply mascara to your lash extensions. I've never done it, but I never want to try it because I've heard many horror stories and seen many interesting photos of what it looks like when you apply mascara to lash extensions. So don't do it, guys. Just don't do it. Onto the brows now. They are of course always a very important factor, but more so in this look because they are a focal point. So fill them in how you wish. My brows, I'm trying to grow them out, you guys, so they're looking a little bit strange to me lately. Like, you know when you get to that awkward point where you want to trim them, but at the same time you're like, no, I'm gonna push through, I'm gonna let them grow. That's where I'm at right now. So to start things off, I like to go in with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. This shade I believe is Espresso, and I just like to go into the head of the brow and of course add the little brow-like strokes. Of course, everybody has their own preference as to how they like to fill their brows in, so it really is up to you and how you like them to look. But again, as I said, I feel like it's really important, like the eyes, to really take the time with the brows because they are a focal point with this look. So now that the brows are all filled in, I am of course going to go ahead and set them in place with a little bit of this Benefit Gimme Brow. Again, this is just really going to help to make the brow hairs stay in place where you want them to and make them last all day long. Now of course I could leave things like this, but lately I've really been enjoying going in with blush. So one that I've been using that I feel like lasts really long and doesn't fade throughout the day is this one from Flower Beauty. This is their Flower Pots blush in Peach Primrose. So I'm going to take a little bit of that to my brush and just apply that to the apples of my cheeks and then slightly bring it back towards the hairline. And again, as I said, I feel like this blush does a really great job of staying in place all day, not transferring onto my mask, and it doesn't fade as well, which is really great. And yes, it is a blush that is completely matte, so it's not going to add any like sheen to your face, but I still feel like the color of it really does make me look nice and radiant. After I've applied my blush, I just like to go in with my brush. No extra product added to it, but I just like to blend over that area really quickly so it is, you know, nicely blended into everything else. Now for highlighter, I am going to be going in with just a little bit of this one from Maybelline. This is their Master Chrome highlighter in Molten Gold. I just want to add the smallest amount to the very top of my cheeks, just really keeping it in this area. Of course, nothing too crazy and blinding because I don't want to add too much. And then whatever is left on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and apply it to the bridge of my nose here and also the end, which is going to help with the whole contouring process. But that's it for highlighter. Last but not least, you guys, the lips. I personally would recommend not wearing a lip color purely for the fact that it's pretty likely that it is going to transfer onto your mask, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of talking while you are wearing your mask. I would, however, recommend that you guys go in with some type of moisturizing lip balm or lip ointment. My go-to is the Lucas Purple ointment. Of course, I can't go anywhere without wearing this. So important to me to keep my lips nice and hydrated. So that is the makeup done, you guys. Now onto wearing the actual mask. I feel like aside from applying all of these long-lasting budge-proof products, another big factor when it comes to the longevity of your makeup and making sure that it does not transfer onto your mask is in the way that you put your mask on and take your mask off. So these are the kind of masks that I use, the one-time use disposable masks. So let me use one of these as an example. As you can see, it comes all nicely folded up. What I like to do is in the very bridge of the mask, like where it sits over your nose, I like to take it and kind of pre-mold it. Then I will go ahead and open it up, unfold this so it's like this nice little pocket, and then I will go ahead and sit this on my face. Make sure that I press it down. If you're going to be moving it around, then naturally it is going to smudge your makeup. So as I said, press it down into your face, mold it to your nose, and then I like to continue to press it along the top here. Put this one over my ear, and then do the same for this side. And then of course you can go ahead and kind of open up these pleats a little more to make sure that you have enough room in there. But aside from that, I'm really comfortable right now, so I will just go ahead and continue on with my day. And if you feel like it's coming off your nose a little bit, you can of course go ahead and adjust along there as well. But my recommendation is to try not to move your mask around and let it slide across your skin. Really press it and like set it in place, because that is really going to prevent it from moving your makeup. Now when it comes to taking the mask off, same thing again. I like to press down on the bridge of the nose and remove the ears, and then voila, mask is off. And then as you can see, absolutely no product has transferred onto the inside of my mask. So while it is really important to factor in what products you are applying, it does also come down to the way that you are putting your mask on and taking it off. And same thing, it's a really easy process. Once you figure out how to put it on and take it off that way, you really aren't going to have any issues with your makeup transferring onto your mask. So there we have it, you guys. That is my mask proof makeup tutorial. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like it before you leave it, and if you are new to my channel and you're still here at the end and you are not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing by hitting the little red button down below before you go so you don't miss any more videos that I post. I'm going to go ahead and leave a full list of everything that I used in this video down in the description box, as well as all of the links to my social media accounts if you guys want to keep up with me on any of those. And as always, I hope you guys are having an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. I hope you are staying safe, looking after yourselves, and looking out for each other. I will talk to you guys in the comments, and I'll see you all in my next video.